what if the keyword you keep chasing is the one you can never win? That's the trap that quietly eats most people's traffic. They pick the biggest search number, then they lose to sites 10 times their size. So let's do the exact opposite today. We're going to hunt for the small keywords instead, the specific ones you can actually rank for and rank for soon. By the end, you'll take one broad topic and walk it down to a short grouped list you can write against for a month. Not a vague idea, an actual plan sitting in front of you. I'm Lena, and finding these keywords isn't luck. It's a repeatable hunt you can run in about 15 minutes. I'll be in KWFinder for the whole thing. There are 3 moves, and they always go in the same order. First, you search, and you dig past the obvious results. Then you filter the long list down to what's genuinely winnable. Then you group what survives into a plan you can actually write. So let's run the whole thing, start to finish, on one real topic. One idea decides whether keyword research pays off, or just wastes your whole week. You're not looking for the keyword with the most searches. You're looking for the one you can actually win. And those two are rarely the same keyword. Take the obvious term in any niche. It has the big, tempting number, so everyone piles on, and page 1 is already owned by sites you can't touch. Reddit, Forbes, Wikipedia, the brands with thousands of links. You won't outrank them this year, however good your post is. So the real game is the long tail. Those are the smaller, more specific searches, the ones where page 1 is soft. And there's one number that tells you which searches those are. KWFinder scores every keyword from 0 to 100, and that difficulty score is not a guess. It's built from how strong the ranking pages already are, their domain authority, their backlinks, the muscle behind page 1. So a low score means the pages you'd have to outrank are weak. Then where's the line? The working line is 30. 30 or under is the winnable zone for most settled sites. Is your site brand new, under 6 months old? Then drop that down to 20. You have no authority banked yet to lean on. That single line decides everything. Posts that rank or posts that vanish on page 9. But the score is only a starting point. It's never the final verdict. The real tell is who's actually sitting on page 1. So here's the habit that separates winners from guessers. You read the results yourself, every single time. If 2 ranking sites are weaker than yours, that keyword is yours, whatever the badge says. That's the entire method in one breath. Now let me show it to you on a real search. Quick bit of setup before we dig in. You don't have to pay to follow along. The link is down in the description. It's operatorreviews.com/mangools. It opens 10 days of full access, no card. That's plenty of room to run one real topic end to end. So pull it up in another tab next to this. And if you want this to actually stick, don't just watch me. Grab a topic you genuinely write about. Hunt right alongside me. Have it ready, because picking your seed is the first move. First move, type your broad topic into the search box and hit go. I'll use Best AI Podcast as our example today. Set your country and language first, because difficulty is local. A keyword that's easy in one market can be brutal in another. Now look at the results that come back. The seed lands right at the top, and here's the number that runs everything. Difficulty, 41 out of 100. That's the obvious term, and 41 is the fight zone, not the win zone. It pulls about 1,600 searches a month, which is exactly why everybody piles onto it. And see that little trend line beside it? It's climbing, so this topic is growing, not fading. Good to know before you invest a month in it. Now look at the list underneath, because this is where it gets good. Top AI podcasts, 350 searches, and the difficulty is 29. That badge is green. Same topic, a third of the searches, but a score that says you can win it. The cost per click column matters too. A higher number there means there are buyers behind the keyword, not just browsers. Now the part most people skip entirely. You read page 1 yourself before you trust any number on the screen. Look over on the right at who is actually ranking for the obvious term. Reddit at 92, Forbes at 94, Apple sitting at 99. Those are walls, and you are not getting past them this year. But scroll down the list and there's one ranking page sitting at just 37. One weak result in a wall of giants. That single crack is your tell. The head term is a no, and the long tail is where those walls finally come down. So that's the read. Don't chase the big number. Hunt the green ones with soft pages sitting behind them. That first list is only one source of ideas, and it's the one everybody else is staring at too. The genuinely winnable stuff hides in the other 2 sources. So switch over to autocomplete. This pulls the phrases people actually start typing into the search box. It's Google's own suggestion data, not a guess. And it's exactly where the specific, lower competition wording lives. You get the real long tail here, the precise way a real person phrases it, not the rounded off version. Then switch again, this time over to questions. This one is my favorite for a brand new site. It pulls the how, the what, and the why, every question people ask out loud. And questions are powerful because they map cleanly onto the answer boxes at the top of Google. Look at the very top one here. How often are podcasts released? The difficulty on that is 17. 17 is about as winnable as a keyword ever gets. Questions are gold for 3 quick reasons. They're specific, so the intent behind them is obvious. They have one clear answer you can actually write, and the big sites rarely bother writing a tidy response to them. So the move is simple. You don't stop at the first list. You run all 3 sources, the related terms, the autocomplete, and the questions, and you collect every green one you find into a pile. As you go, star the ones you like so they save to a list. The problem now is the opposite of where we started. That pile is too big to act on, so it's time to cut it down to the few that are actually worth your week. Second move, open the filter and put a floor under that list. Right now, there's far too much noise in it to think straight. So open the filter panel. You get a whole row of controls in here, but only a few of them do almost all the work. The first is a minimum on search volume. I'll set mine to 100. That alone strips out the dead keywords nobody searches, the ones showing 10 searches or 0. The second is the difficulty field, the maximum. This is where you cap it at 30. Only the winnable scores survive the cut. There's also an exclude box, and it's underrated. Drop in a couple of retailer names you'll never outrank. They vanish from every result. A 3-word minimum works the same way. It pushes you toward the longer, softer phrases. Set those and apply. Now watch the list collapse. We were looking at more than a dozen terms a second ago. Now it simply says 4. 4 real candidates, instead of a wall of noise. That's the entire point of the filter. It does the sorting your eyes were about to do by hand, instantly. Now read what survived. Top AI podcasts sits at 29, green. That's the one you build around. The others come in around 40. That tells you straight away they're not for a smaller site yet. And here's the mistake that quietly sinks new sites on this screen. 30 is the winnable line for an established site. But is your site under 6 months old? Then drop that filter to 20. New sites have no authority banked. A keyword that's winnable for me is still a wall for you. Set the number to match your own site, not mine. And never let the badge make the final call alone. Open the green ones. Glance at who's ranking. Confirm page 1 really is soft. The filter narrows the field fast. Your own eyes lock in the winner. Last move, turn on clusters and let it group what's left. A flat list of keywords still isn't a plan, so switch clusters on. Instead of one long list, it buckets the keywords by topic, and it shows you the average difficulty of each bucket. Look down the side here. There's a bucket averaging 29, green, across the whole group. That's not one winnable keyword. That's a whole cluster of them in one place. That single bucket is a month of posts that can all rank. Another group averages 37. That tells you to leave it for later, once your site is stronger. This is the move that quietly turns research into a calendar. Open the green bucket and you can see exactly what's inside. These are the specific long tails grouped under one theme. Things like Best Podcasts for Beginners or Best Machine Learning Podcast. Each one of those is a single post you can write this month. Together, they're a whole topic your site can own. And that ownership is the real prize here. Search engines reward a site that covers one subject deeply. They outrank a site with a single stray article on it. So the play is a simple one. You don't write one post and hope. You take the cluster, you write every piece inside it, and you link them all back to one main page. That internal linking tells Google you're the authority on the topic. So look where you've actually landed. You started with one obvious keyword you could never rank for. You dug past it into the long tail. You filtered down to the winnable few, and you grouped them into a topic you can genuinely own. That's a month of beatable content, found in about 15 minutes, without a single guess in the whole process. Step back for a second and look at what you just pulled off. You never once guessed at a keyword. You searched, you dug past the obvious into the long tail. You filtered down to the ones you can actually win, and you grouped them into a plan you can write all month. Search, filter, cluster. That's the whole loop. And it gets faster every time you run it. So here's your move. Pick the one topic you most want to rank for, just that one. Run it through this exact flow. The 10-day trial gives you full access, no card. The link sits right below this video, operatorreviews.com/mangoals. Find your green cluster and start building.